So last month I lost just over $2,000 in a Meta Ads hack, and long story short, it really sucked. But in this video, I'm gonna tell you exactly what happened and what steps I took to hopefully make sure that it doesn't happen again. So if you are interested in learning about the shadow side of running Meta Ads, keep watching and let's get into it. So I deliberated whether I should share this story or not because it kind of makes Meta Ads look not safe. And since my main service as a business is to run Meta Ads for clients, that's not like an ideal thing for me. But I'm erring on the side of oversharing and transparency because I feel like this is just something that if you're going to do this, you should know about, just all the things that are out there. So hopefully this is helpful. I also want to say, just to preface this, I don't think that this is a large risk for most people. If you are careful with your data, as I'll get into later in the video, and what you can do to make your account secure, I think there's a pretty low likelihood of this happening, but it also is a real thing that can happen. So here's what happened. On June 14th, I got an email from one of my clients, and he let me know that there was a quote-unquote suspicious ad in our ad account. Suspicious was an understatement. The ad was an ad for women's swimwear, basically, inside of a Spotify conversion campaign that we'd set up. So probably not the best way to drive Spotify streams is talking about like a random bathing suit. It was set to a daily budget of $20,000 a day. So we'd been spending $33 a day previously. So that was a rather large jump up. So right away, my client went in and he disabled the ad, and obviously he let me know. And so we both went in and checked, but we couldn't really find out who had launched the ad or where it had come from. So we both just changed our passwords and just agreed to monitor the account going forward. And we were kind of just hoping, I think, that it wouldn't happen again. But then, of course, it did happen again. The same ad was relaunched, but this time at a budget of $30,000 a day. So that was great. And at this point, we were able to tell that it had been created by a contractor on my team. So that really sucked. And this was confirmed when the contractor actually emailed me that same day, and the subject line was like urgent in all caps, and he told me that his personal Facebook account had been hacked and that hackers had already stolen a bunch of his money. He asked that I remove him from all the accounts that he'd been given access to as part of my agency. So at this point, I was totally freaking out and I was just feeling awful. The way that we run Meta Ads, as I've talked about in a previous video, is we get agency access, like partner access to our client accounts. So we essentially have access to their ad accounts. I think that this is usually the best way to run ads because that way, if we stop working with an artist, they have all the data and they can just keep running ads themselves. So they have full visibility into what we're doing, and then they can use it for themselves later if they stop working with us. But the risk of it is that they're giving somebody else access. And so when we get hacked, which is what happened to my contractor, a hacked account has access to their ads account. So when I found out that contractor was hacked, I immediately went in and removed him from 5 client ad accounts at the time, and I just deleted his access to that, and I totally removed his user from our business portfolio. Now, we found out when we were removing the contractor that another of our clients had been hacked. So out of the 5 clients he had access to, they got in and ran ads in 2 of them. We caught the second one very quickly, and so that only ended up spending a few $100 because, again, they set the budget so high. At that point, I kind of just assumed we were in the clear. And then at midnight, it happened again in that first client account. So what I found out afterward, and I'm still pretty upset that I didn't check this right away, is that the hackers had set up automated rules in our ad account so that every night at midnight, the campaign was basically relaunched. We cleared the rules out, but at this point, we'd lost nearly $2,000 across both ad accounts. And to make matters worse, we got a notification from Meta, from Facebook, that this first client's ad account was being suspended. So that's everything that happened with the hack. Now, here's what I did about it. First of all, I went in and I refunded both those clients all the money for the ads that we ran through that hacked contractor. Again, it came out to around $2,000, which wasn't fun, but also felt like the right thing to do because we were responsible for that hacked account. Now, the good news is that after a lengthy review on Facebook's part, they both reimbursed that more severely impacted client and reinstated his ad account. And so he was able to get money back from Facebook as well. And then he also was able to get his ad account back with the old data and things. So there wasn't a huge lasting impact on it, but it was a pretty frightening thing. And there was a big interruption in running ads. So that's the happy ending, but on the worst side, my contractor has not been as lucky. As far as I know, he still hasn't been able to get his personal Facebook profile back. He's pretty much just lost at this point. And he was actually running his own agency and running campaigns for clients, and so he had to clean up that whole mess. And he had to create a whole new personal profile and a whole new like agency portfolio to get back off the ground with meta ads. So things could have been worse, but yeah, not fun, and definitely not fun to wake up and find out that you've lost like a couple $1,000 overnight. So here is what I have changed going forward to hopefully make things more secure. First of all, my password. I'm no longer going to use the password. I'm going to add an exclamation point. So hackers, you can all make a note of that in the future. I'm also being as judicious as possible with user access. And basically just what I mean by that is as soon as somebody is not working on a campaign, I'm removing their access from whatever assets they had. Just trying to keep things as tight as possible. And the third thing I'm doing is I'm starting to set up some automated rules so that if we see a huge budget increase out of nowhere, the campaign just automatically gets shut off. If a hacker was smart, they would be able to get around this, but I know that not all hackers are super smart, so hopefully that is just like another security measure that's in place. And then something I already had in place, but that I am just leaning into is two-factor authentication, which is that whole thing where when you log in, they ask you to confirm via a code that's sent to you. And it's never really that fun to copy and paste those codes, obviously, but I think that they do have the effect of added security. And so I'm enabling that for everything that I use. And in the future, I'm going to make sure that my contractors are using that too. So that's what happened and what I'm doing about it. I guess that begs the question, is it even worth it to run ads when something like this could happen? I mean, I think if you just look at the outcome of this story, it seems like it's still worth it. My client was reimbursed both by me and by Facebook, and the ad account was reinstated. So there weren't lasting damages there, but I understand that it's just, I mean, it was a scary thing for me. Like, honestly, just dealing with that experience was not fun. But I still think that you just can't live in fear. Like, last month, actually, my wife and I had our debit card hacked because she clicked some link that pretended to come from the post office. Somebody was spoofing the post office and put in our credit card thinking she was like accepting a package. And I wouldn't use that situation to argue that you should never send packages again. So I think you just have to be careful. I think you have to be on the lookout for potential scams and be very careful about how you handle and give out your personal information. I also think that if you are just tenacious with following up with customer support when these things happen, most times you will be able to get through and get things resolved because these companies don't want to have a reputation of huge scams happening on their platforms. But I do think in the long run, it's better to just live your life and be proactive and do the things you want to do rather than just like hiding under your bed every day. So hopefully just sharing about this experience is helpful for you if you're running ads for yourself. If you are interested in learning how to run ads, they definitely can work, and we have a membership that has courses and has one-on-one calls, so you don't even have to give anybody else access to your account, but you can learn how to run ads yourself. Hopefully this does not happen to you. If you do have experience with meta scams or just, I guess, with scams in general, let me know in the comments. Wishing you good luck and wishing you no hackers ever in your entire life.